Guys, I am here with the legend himself, David Thornton, pier pounder. He's cracking me up here. He doesn't think he's a legend, but man, he is. And if you have been in this area, you know David Thornton is a legend. But he's walking me around the pier today. I'm going to be doing some pier fishing videos this year, hopefully, so that you guys can kind of see what's up and we can learn together, and I can show you guys some things, what's going on. But he's showing me some ropes today. There's not a lot of people out here. It's real calm, so we're just kind of walking the pier, and he's telling me what points of the pier are for what and kind of how to do it. And hopefully here soon we'll be catching fish in the next few videos. So is this section of the pier, is this for a particular type of fishing? Like we're on the front section, we just walked out. Is this where most people bottom fish? Or?
Primarily, yeah, this time of year especially. It's mostly bottom fishing for whiting and drum and redfish, maybe pomping up. They call it the shallows because it's the area fairly shallow coming off the beach, and then you slip off into the longshore trough, and then you can see the longshore sandbar that's a little further out than we are, and that area is where the fish are going to congregate. Those particular type of drumfish are going to try and stay between that sandbar and the beach. The waves are going to churn the bottom up and give them some food and stuff like that. One advantage you've got on the pier here is how it gets you up over the surf, whereas on the beach, you know, you've got to fight those waves that are pounding on the beach. If you look down the beach, and you can see how the waves come, and then they hit that shelf and they smash down on the shelf. Well, if they catch your line, especially on a day when you've got a crosswind like this, it's going to push your line down the beach and all. Out here, you can afford to fish parallel to the trough instead of perpendicular to it and fighting that crosswind and cross current. The advantage from the pier is once you find that slot is you can fish that same depth all the way back to the pier pretty much. Spraying back there in the background. Let's go over this.
Okay. Man, that's wind.
But during the winter, you know, you can stand here and the sun kind of bounces off of that. It's pretty cool.
Warm you up a little bit.
Yeah. We're out here on the mid platform, and you can tell by the waves in the background we're right over the longshore sandbar, and the water here varies from about 5 to 12 feet. And very quickly, as you move further out away from the pier, it starts to slope off pretty deep, you know, fairly quickly. Just like inside the sandbar, the fish use the outside of the sandbar as well to orient to and to find bait and food. Sometimes the fish will come right up to the sandbar to feed. Sometimes they're feeding on the sandbar, and sometimes they're going to be out further. But the opportunities here, even underneath the pier, because at the end of the pier, you've got at these platforms, you've got so many pilings in close proximity that it's literally a living reef, and it brings all different kinds of fish in. Right now, you've got sheep's head and bluefish and redfish and drum. And another thing that helps on the pier too is the lighting. A lot of people overlook that, but the lighting, especially on the Gulf State Park Pier, is unique. We've got these turtle-friendly lights that only shine down, they don't shine out, but they do shine down in the water, and they attract the whole, you know, food web, the plankton, and then the small fish, and then the bigger fish. So those are good locations as well. So when you come out on the pier, you know, look at where the structure is, look at where the lights are, the time of day, the tide, the wind, the water clarity, all that kind of comes together. You know, we're out here on a cloudy day, so the amount of sunlight that you have, all of that kind of mixes in together and makes it either a good day or a bad day to be fishing on the pier. Yeah, I love this walk. We always said on the old pier, which ended about where the mid-platform was. We used to always say, if the pier was only 100 yards longer, man, just think of the fish we'd catch. Well, now it's 150 yards longer, and it gets us out to water that's about 27, 28 feet deep, depending on the tide. And it really brings about some opportunities that...
Yeah, I've seen people catch some mahi off of here before.
Off of here.
It's crazy.
Actually, a few sailfish have been hooked.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough 4 years ago to hook one in May.
Really? You did?
And
did you land it or just?
I came this close to landing. Yeah. And it's probably the closest one has been to being landed on this pier.
There's probably other people like me. Like, I would just walk out here and I wouldn't even read any of these signs.
Yeah.
you know,
you kind of overlook it.
But if I saw it in a video, it's going to stick.
All right, first thing you'll notice when you get out to the end of the pier is these big signs that say, you know, keep your stuff behind the red line, and they're referencing this red line that's about 8 feet back from the railing, and that's to protect, you know, anybody that comes out here just walking around, so that nobody that's about to cast is going to come back and sling a hook into them, you know. So it's for the safety of people just walking around to stay back there. Plus, it leaves a nice wide lane for people that have big fish that run along the pier to be able to move along the rail and follow their fish. Another sign that you see is the yellow lines up here, and they are referencing no bottom fishing on the very front of the pier. People are actively moving around, casting, and also they'll cast out, especially with a live bait. And as the current or wind blows the bait along, they'll have to follow along the rail with it. So they want to keep that area as open as possible. And if somebody throws a line out on bottom that's anchored to the bottom, that becomes an obstruction and the people can't move past them. They just, you know, everybody gangs up in one spot then. So if they open it up, they can just keep following it around, you know, and then you pull your bait in, you come back to the head of the line, you cast out again, and you do it again. What they call the Gulf Shores Shuffle.
Hopefully that helps you guys out, and the next time you're pier fishing, if you're new to it. David, thank you so much for taking me out, for showing me around. I'm looking forward to catching some fish this year off the pier. But guys, as always, stay bummy.